I was wondering if there's like a certain song or like band that inspired you guys to do what you do.
Man,
There's so many.
yeah, it's a hard one. I feel like it's just like amalgamation of like, you know, the experiences that you had, or like the records that you loved growing up. I remember like early on, like I wanted to write songs really, really bad, and so like my dad got me a guitar from his guitar player in his band, and for the longest time I was like, oh man, this is really hard. Like I'm not gonna be able to figure this out. So I would just put it on and stand in front of a mirror and like listen to my favorite songs and pretend to play. And then at some point there was like a ceremony, a graduation ceremony or something shit happened at my grammar school, and I told my friend that I played guitar because that, you know, he had a guitar. I was like, yeah, I play guitar. And so that kid, like, when they came into, like, they're like, hey, we're gonna have an assembly, we need someone that plays guitar. Like, does anyone play guitar? And my friend was like, oh, he plays guitar. So I had to learn it, and it was fucking awesome. Like I was like, why didn't I do this sooner? This is crazy. I mean, it really is probably a span of like 3 months, but it was such a feeling of like accomplishment, you know, and a confidence booster.
Yeah.
And then going to see like, you know, local shows of like kids that were my age putting on shows, and like the bands that were like my age. It was like, fuck, man, I can do this. This is crazy. Yeah, and that was the big thing. It wasn't like a specific song or a specific like, you know, band. It was just the experience of knowing that you can accomplish something and do something like
I remember being like in 7th grade and watching Green Day. And like listening to Green Day and being like, I can do this. You know what I mean? And like watching them on MTV, because I like used to play that shit. They would play. I remember this one concert, that, like watching them at like 7th grade and watching them play this concert and being like, fuck, this is like, that looks easy. Not easy, but like it looks attainable. And like being really inspired by Green Day at like a weird time in my life, like before I could go to like shows by myself and shit like that. I remember really loving that band and like watching them and being like learning how to play their songs by watching them on TV.
For me, it was skateboarding. I remember, you know, all I did when I was a kid was skateboard, and that's how I learned about all of my music, was through like Thrasher magazine, watching skate videos, and like loving that alternative culture.
Yeah.
And then I convinced my mom when I was 14 to drop me off in a really horrible fucking neighborhood in Trenton, New Jersey, City Gardens. To see the Bouncing Souls, and I was like the youngest person there, and
It's also
by myself.
Really bad place.
It's a fucking terrible place.
Really bad.
My mom's insane for doing it. But I just remember like being scared in the back and just watching this and being like, I'm terrified, but this is so cool. That just stuck with me. Bouncing Souls.
Yeah.
It was one of my first shows too. Swinging out Bouncing Souls. Descendants.
Rest in the Bouncing Souls pipeline.
That's a common thread in that, don't
I love that. You should tell Greg.
Go. Roll up. I do have actually a specific moment that I remember. My father was a songwriter, so there was guitars around all the time, and I grew up watching music, listening, but I didn't really connect with it. Like I remember, I was probably about 9 or 10, and my father had a lot of acoustic guitars around, and I saw the video for Patience by Guns N' Roses, and I looked at his guitars, and I was like, oh, it's the same kind. And so I picked it up, and as far as I was concerned, in the next hour I had 15 songs. You know? Like it was just even going blank, 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 blank. Oh yeah, that's a tune.
Well, like DJ Khaled.
It's called. What's that? Yeah. It's like DJ Khaled with the Bob Marley guitar.
He's not the best.
No. But yeah, that was a moment, like, because from then on I just kept playing it, and then I wanted the electric, and for me it really was just also a lot of being able to collaborate with friends. You know, I was in a lot of bands from very early on, and we would cover songs and stuff like that, like, you know, whether it be covering a Violent Femmes song or a Misfit song, or like, you know, just it was about learning those songs and getting better that way.
Oh, now I have to
Yeah,
go.
you gotta go. You're on the hot seat.
Yeah, I remember me and my friend in elementary school would always just talk about starting a band, but neither of us even played an instrument. We would just like pretend. And then he decided that he wanted to play guitar, so I couldn't. And then I remember actually getting Jane's Addiction, Ritual de lo Habitual, and just hearing the bass on that. Eric Avery is a huge influence for me. And I was always just like too self-conscious to just do it. And then my mom just signed me up for bass lessons one day because I never shut up about it. And then I just sat in my room and just like listened to everything from, you know, Jane's, Green Day, Operation Ivy, anything, Fugazi, and just learned literally every single bass line I could. And then it wasn't really until Thursday started that I was actually in a band. It was something I always wanted to do, but that was the first time all the pieces kind of fell into place. But yeah, I mean, just music in general, I think, was huge in all our lives from a really early age.
Thank God you did, because you are the foundation of this entire band.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you mentioned Eric Avery, because that's always what like a lot of the songs, how they come about.
Yeah, you
tunes,
definitely have that style.
I consider it to be a very Eric Avery kind of, not that you're biting his style.
Oh, I'm certainly. I certainly do.
No, but once you think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not so on the nose.
And now that you
hear.
can fly to his house, do whatever you want. Freak. Superpower to fly.
I'll get there first because I can teleport.
I should have done that.
And no one will see you, right?
I go straight invisible. I'll see what he's doing before he even knows he's doing it.
We have time for one more question, and we're going to